You can sit, feel perfectly normal, not feel wired or depressed, not have visual activity in the visual field, and then you generate a tone like, and you see that it's a certain shade of lemon yellow with a chartreuse edge running on it. And then you, and it shifts to pink blue. Well, you begin to experiment with this, and you discover very quickly that you can do more than just generate colors. You can generate modalities. You can generate shapes as you begin to relax into an unconscious expression of syntax. Form begins to behave itself in the space in front of you. And that language may have existed a very long time before anybody got the idea that you could use a certain sound, like glass, to mean a certain complex object. Because on psilocybin, glossolalia is frequently triggered. Glossolalia is normally presented as speaking in tongues, a religious phenomenon of fundamentalism. And the fundamentalist spin on it is that these are ancient biblical languages and that you're being possessed by an angel or something. But in fact, at the primitive level of religion worldwide, glossolalia is frequently met with. And all of us have an ability to relax away from meaning and still retain syntax. It's just something you would never do because we're programmed to always mean something when we speak. But in fact, babies don't do this at all. They love to babble, and they only late in the process learn to attach meaning. Well, so then under language in the humble service of meaning, there is language for itself, sort of the ding-on-siche of language. And, well, I'll give an example of it and then discuss what's going on. Niedrige Mondwai Haxikevitchni Mogum Wapaten Didikinite Dechigevewai Hambikiti Efuktive Invidi Wahabagenke Dito. Okay, now what's happening here? First of all, ordinarily we associate this speed of vocal noise with words. Words are small mouth noises. That's all they are. See, if you're going to have a creature which communicates among members of its species, you have to have a low energy form of communication. Otherwise, you'd be exhausted from the effort to communicate. Well, small mouth noises are great. A person can talk for about 12 hours without stopping, fairly effortlessly. I mean, if you've got water and a little dope rolled, and it's not a problem. Well, do you know how much information a person could convey in 12 hours if they were, say, reading the telephone book aloud? It's pretty amazing. So this thing I just did, it had syntax, but it had no meaning. In other words, if you listen to it, you hear that sounds repeat, rhythms repeat, there appear to be prefixes, suffixes, certain kinds of declensions. It's all there, folks. It just doesn't mean anything. But it turns out that the activity of language feels like language, whether it means anything or not. Well, in the psychedelic state, you discover this same set of tinker toys that was used to create the little speech I just did can be used to create sculptures that are free form, that this hiwai waxi kuvini malhakti kipikit, it looks a certain way. What's important is not how it sounds. What's important is how it looks. In the Amazon, in these ayahuasca cults, they have what they call icaros, magical songs. Icaros are visual art. They are intended that way, and they're criticized that way. and their success or failure is judged entirely in the visual domain, and yet they are made out of sound. And what they convey are very complex feelings. You could almost say three-dimensional feelings so complex that they won't lay down and be a sound like hate, fear, revulsion. They won't do that. They can only be laid out as grammatical objects of a higher